Hello and welcome to the video. As you may be able to tell, this video is going to be about that guy in the back, old Tom Ramblers69 and his appreciation build. Old Tom's a fantastic member of the community, a top-class builder, and personally has helped me out with parts and acquiring some kits, so definitely a person that deserves some extra appreciation. So here we are doing the appreciation build. I've kind of announced what I was doing for this build several times, even way back, I think as early as the announcement. Said I was going to do it. I just haven't been able to sneak it into the lineup, but here we are finally getting into this project with the Mooneyes Dragster kit, but we're not going to actually be doing the Mooneyes. Kind of around the time of the announcement, Tom was doing that Mooneyes and V-dub hauler, so I was thinking we need to do a little competition for the Mooneyes car, something to line up against, so we're going to do kind of a fantasy build. I do plan on doing a bunch of these kind of early 60s dragsters. I think I've got 3 of these Mooneyes kits. We're obviously going to do the Mooneyes dragster. Plan on doing the Mickey Thompson Tempest. Dragmaster's got 2 or 3 of them that I plan on doing. So we've got a selection here, so we're going to kind of mix them all up. This one's going to be a little fantasy. Again, just to kind of change things up, change the engine up, colors. As far as colors, of course, we're going to be doing the Mooneyes yellow. We've got the Tempest blue. Dragmaster gold, so we're gonna have to try to find something outside of that. Probably like a green, I'm thinking will be a nice contrasting color with all the other cars. But let's talk about the build. Like I said, we're not doing the Mooneyes dragster, and we're gonna switch it up. A couple things we're gonna switch up. We've got the blown Cadillac out of the 59 El Camino, which I think will be a nice kind of a period type piece to put into a rail up next to the Mooneyes. Mooneyes was a 283 small block, blown obviously, and that Cadillac would represent like a 331 cubic inch Cadillac, so I think it'll be really appropriate pairing, at least on that end. We do have part of the red chassis kit. I've done a comparison between the Mooneyes, the red chassis, the blue chassis out of the Mickey Thompsons. This body sheet metal is a little bit taller, a little bit longer, so maybe we implement that again just to kind of differentiate the two, make them look a little bit different, make them look their own. So again, the kit inside is still brand new, all in the bags. There is our main parts there. You got a nice chrome tree, great looking slicks, and then there is most of the Chevy that we won't be using. We'll probably have to swap in the bell housing, things like that to get it to work. And then we get a bunch of extra sanitary T parts, but again, we're going to kind of doing our own thing. Not for certain where this video is going to go, if we're just going to do an introduction, maybe a first mock-up, or if we're just going to kind of throw it all into one long video. Dragsters by nature are pretty simplistic, so I don't think there's going to be a whole lot of build time involved with this, but we'll see how it goes. Again, just kind of making the intro here and going with it. So you guys will know kind of by the title and description of the video where we're going here, but we're at least going to go into kind of a mock-up stage, and we'll be right back. Okay, here we are a couple days into our dragster project. Obviously the early stages is just a lot of part cleanup and mock-up to figure out which way we're going. So again, this thing is just sitting in mock-up. The only thing that's actually glued together is our frame, our long block for our engine, and that's pretty much, I guess we got a moon tank glued together, but other than that, it's all in mock-up. Rear axle is just Mod Podged together, like the blower assembly. Front end of the engine is poster tack, same with the front wheels, again just to kind of set everything up to get an idea of which way we're going with it. And kind of the first thing we're deciding is sheet metal and engine, things like that. We are, I think, going to stay with this Cadillac engine out of the 59 El Camino. We do have, of course, another Cadillac engine with the Revell parts pack, but I think again we're going to stay with the AMT one here. I kind of like that small blower setup that they have with this guy. So now that we've kind of chose our engine, we can choose our sheet metal. And again, this red chassis, I just call it the red chassis. It's actually Another Revell parts pack, part number of C1121. Pretty close to the same as the Mooneyes, but it is a little bit different. Drop axle, different sheet metal, things like that. So that's the red chassis that I referred to. Again, I've done a comparison on all of these chassis. The difference in the sheet metal is, again, the red one is taller, kind of a taller stack up, and is actually longer here in this hood. So we can get away with that height difference since we are kind of going with a vertical stack engine versus that Mooneyes is kind of linear with that crank mount blower. So again, we can use that height of this sheet metal. And not only did we add some height to it, we added the front here. We'll get into that. Well, we can just talk about it right now. A lot of dragsters have names, things like that. Looking for decals, things I could use on this dragster. Come across this set of 1950 Ford decals. We got the Showboat kind of stripe here. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to run it right down the side of our dragster. So that being blue kind of takes away our green theme that we were thinking. But that's okay. I think we're going to go with a white kind of overall look. Maybe even a pearl white, again, kind of bright, almost Hollywood-esque Showboat. So we'll do like a pearl white. Maybe we'll go blue on the engine to kind of bring that color around. Maybe even some red accents, kind of red, white, and blue, but we'll see. Probably going to go at least white and then blue accents. So that's kind of gives us a theme for the dragster, the direction to actually go. So we're probably going to use a lot of chrome since we're going to go bright and flashy. So we'll probably assemble the blower, get that all chromed up again. The wheels, not sure if I'm going to go with these wheels. What I'd really like to do is get the drag slicks out of the 49 Ford kit. There's a set of wide white wall drag slicks. I think they're Firestone drag slicks. I would love to get a set of those. Actually, I'd love to get 5-6 sets of those. So if anybody has those that they're not intending to use, by all means, get a hold of me. I'd love to trade you for them or buy them off you or whatever I can do. So again, I could use 5-6 sets of those throughout the future of my builds. I just absolutely love those wide white wall slicks. So hopefully I can get a hold of a set of those. Maybe I've got some other white wall slicks. So we'll figure out what's going on back here. It's just sitting here in mock-up. As you can see, some of these parts are stripped of chrome, and what I use to strip my chrome is yellow Easy Off oven cleaner. I got a small plastic container. I just leave some of that in there. It's got a lid on it so it doesn't go bad. First thing I do is kind of trim all my parts off the trees, figure out what I'm going to dechrome, throw that in there. I just leave it overnight. I don't know how quick it'll actually work. The main reason I use that Easy Off is because things like these early Revell kits, their chrome has a varnish layer underneath of that chrome, so while bleach may take off chrome quickly, it does not touch that varnish layer where the Easy Off will. So again, I can just throw this in overnight and I know everything's going to be taken care of. It is my go-to for chrome. Never had a chrome that it wouldn't take off or a varnish layer that it wouldn't take off. So that's my go-to little tip there for you. So we got all those parts stripped. Of course, we got the blower, valve covers, things like that off the AMT engine done. Again, we said we assembled the engine and then we cut the transmission off. It's got a pretty nice little transmission hook to it, but the length of it was going to cause us some issues, so we cut that off so we could run the smaller kind of gear set here off the Mooneyes, keep us in length there to meet up with our rear axle. So we'll have to redo the bell housing a little bit to mate up to that bell housing transmission, but most of that's going to be hidden, so I'm not too concerned about that. Let's see what else. We'll talk about that sheet metal again. Most of that's all been prepped up. We've done the seam. That has been all super glued. We just got a little bit back here we got to fill in, but otherwise this seam is gone. It's just super glued there. So that's cleaned up. Along with adding the sheet metal out front, we remove the louver set that is on these panels. Here's the Mooneyes set louvers. Move those off again to add for that stripe. Those pieces are glued together. They're just fun tack to the frame right now. So we'll clean up that seam a little bit more, get those parts into primer there. Let's see what else we got out here to talk about. Not much else, just the front axle. It's kind of the only other main part. We do have the exhaust from the AMT 59 El Camino. Kind of this wild exhaust. We'll see if we can use that. Should be able to use that on a dragster. If not, we got some tubing and solder to use. As everybody knows, or may not know, on these dragsters, they come with a really wide front axle for some reason. So I ended up cutting the axle out of it. Here is the axle, and I used some aluminum tubing to replace that. And when we did that, we also cut maybe 1/8 to 1/4 inch out of it. Now you can kind of see our track width kind of lines up. We got a nice square look to our wheel set. What I used for that front axle, it's actually right here. It's 16-inch aluminum tubing. There's your part number if you need that. And I found that this 032nd music wire fits inside of that tubing. So we kind of use this to pin our spindles. And then we actually just run a full piece all the way through that tubing to pin our spindles to that axle. So we got a nice stable front end there. It's all glued. Again, we just have the wheels fun tacked on there for now. Other than that, that kind of wraps up our little update here. Of course, we're going to add some accessories. Not sure if we're going to run that moon tank or maybe get a turned aluminum one, because I'm thinking about getting a turned aluminum magneto for this guy. Since this is all kind of hanging out in the open, might as well doll it up some with some aftermarket parts, and then we'll do some wiring, things like that. So with that, I think we'll call this a video, at least my first update on the old Tom Rambler 69 Dragster. And with that, we'll see you next time.